Oh my gosh. I was like, is she trying to tell me something that I'm going to be having a little girl? Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. Welcome to another week. I know last week I was gone. I was just tired. That's it. I needed a day for myself. I'm going to explain a little bit more throughout the episode of why I decided to take some time off and how sometimes it's very necessary. So today I thought I would talk about um, mothers since Mother's Day is coming up. But like I said, I don't like to typically talk about, oh yeah, be thankful for your mom, give her flower. This episode is not going to be anything to do with that. If anything, it might be a little triggering or it might wake up something within you guys that you never really thought about before. So, like, as many of you guys know, if you know me personally, if you know me personally, I think I've mentioned it a couple times in my previous episodes. I love my mother. I love her. She's such a strong queen. She's very inspiring. She's very strong woman and I love her. But I feel like we have never really ever had the strongest relationship as a mother daughter for many reasons that I'm not ready to share or I would not. But the point is, we have not had a great relationships for many years. I would say at least 15, 20 years. And those are things that I've learned to bring to light. Um, for many years, I was like, my mother is the way she is because, her parents didn't give her love. My dad was very abusive. Like, I gave her a lot of excuses. I began to gaslight myself and be like, you know what? She was hurt. And now I'm like, no, it was not correct how she made certain decisions that not only impacted herself, but also me. And now I'm dealing with the consequences of like trauma and, you know, generational cycles that I am learning to break. I don't have children yet, but the day that I decide that I do want to, I hope that I am very aware and healed of everything that I went to so I do not pass it to my kids. I would not want them to go through what I went through as a child and until now. But I feel like it's easy to blame. Like I said, I'm not giving excuses to why a parent can be a certain way. Um, I looked at the Bible. Like I always I love to read the Bible, and I'm like, you know, this is truth. This is light. This is like not everybody who is Christian reads the Bible. Believe that there's a lot of truth for people who are not even religious or, you know, and I was like, let me see if there's any verses that talk about being a mother. And I was looking and looking. There's like, oh, honor your mother and your father. Okay, yes. But that's more for us, like telling us to honor our parents. And then there's another one, a verse that says, like, you need to raise your children with good virtues, beliefs, faith, and they will grow up to be decent people of faith. And I was like, okay, that's another verse. And pretty much that's it. And I'm like, it doesn't give you a manual of how to be a good religious or good faith mother. You know what? There was a lot of verses on how to be a good woman. And I was like, okay. Okay, I get it. It talks about how to be a virtuous woman, how to be that Proverbs woman, right? So the Bible talks endlessly about how to be a good woman, how to serve your husband, how to respect, how to teach others, how to respect yourself. So I'm like, okay, that's the key. Many of these mothers are forced to just become mothers without them themselves first having that knowledge on how to be a woman. What is it like to have that feminine energy to be a woman? Many of these women back then, they used to have kids when they were what, 12, 13, 14, 15. They would like, sleep with someone and then boom, you're married, you're going to have a kid. And then they didn't get the chance to grow up and be that woman. They were kids being kids raising other kids. You know what I mean? Like, in order for you to become a great mother, you have to be a good woman first. I'm like, that's the key. Most of these girls didn't get to be women. They became women at 16 years old when they were birthing their child. They didn't get to be 25, 26, 27, 30s. Now women are having kids in their 30s. Why is that? Because we have awareness. We have that awareness that we have to heal as a woman before we can be able to create another child and be that example for those children, right? Hurt people, hurt others. When a mother is, she was wounded as a kid, that's all she knows. That's all she's going to teach her own kids. She didn't get to learn how to be a woman. And there's a lot of, like I said, trauma between me and my mother. I feel like she hurt me and she continues to hurt me, maybe unconsciously. Like, I don't want to say that my mom is a terrible person or she's an evil. She's not. But she still continues to hurt me, maybe unintentionally. And bringing those issues up makes us fight because for her, that is the norm. That is what it is. And it's so crazy. Like, I was like, whoa. I never like realized that, Now I have other like learning, other experiences, other knowledge with other religions. I talked about it on my TikTok. If you guys haven't followed me on TikTok, I recommend you guys do because we have more of a intimate conversation where I talk about the Empress energy. So this Empress energy, I feel like she is fertility to the max. She is a woman who is very attuned to her body, to her mind, to her time, energy. She's surrounded by flowers. So that means she's abundant. She's fruitful. She's fertility. She is not worrying about what's going on behind in the world because she's in nature, like so calm. And I feel like for us, specifically, I think I'm speaking for myself. I'm getting into that energy where I'm very motherly. And no, this is not saying that I'm pregnant. I'm just feeling like I'm getting into that energy where I'm very like anything that I touch will become fruitful. That I'm just that fertility energy. And you know why? Because I'm doing the awareness, the shadow work, all the difficult stuff that most people don't want to do. And necessarily, like when you are in this energy, it doesn't mean you're going to have a kid. It could be a physical creation. You could be creating life, but you could be creating a business. You could be creating a artistic side of you. Maybe you're into painting, into singing. For me, it's this podcast. I'm in that energy where like I'm doing makeup jobs. Like that's such an artistic form. I am like, I don't even tell you guys, but I'm like singing, and that's such an artistic, feminine energy. And I'm like, I love being in this. For so long, I was like, I'm that boss that she's loaded. She's a very type A type of person. And for many, many years, I was that girl, and I'm tired. I just want to sit down and relax. I just want to go and bake a freaking pie. I just want to go and fucking walk a field of flowers. That's all I want to do. I want to stay in that energy of the mother. A lot of us can't create in survival. When you're worried about so much stuff, you can't create. That energy is a creation, the mother. If everybody waited to get themselves into that mother energy, man, you would be creating a good generation. Your future generations would be amazing. They would be, oh, they would have awareness. There wouldn't be emotional damage and, cycles of negative entities cycling over and over again. Like I mentioned right now, like I'm in that mother energy. It's so crazy. I'm going to share with you guys an experience. And like I said, many times it could mean like you're birthing, you're about to give, conceive, or give birth to a literal life or a baby or an idea or I don't know, anything, but it's you're creating something out of nothing, right? Me and Ilbron went to eat a couple weeks ago, and when we walked in, it was pretty busy, so we were waiting by the door, and like to the left, there was a little family, and hopefully I'm going off track, but hopefully she gets to see my video, the mom, because we're a very small town in Merced. But she looked at us, and the little girl was like 2 or 3, very tiny, barely can talk. And she's like, in Spanish, she said, ¿Dónde está tu hija? And I was like, huh? She's like, where is your daughter? And the mom's like, oh, she's asking you. She's like, do you have? I was like, no, I don't have any children. And the little girl, she's like, the mom told the little girl, Mija, she doesn't have any daughters. And the daughter's like, yes, she does. And she was very insistent. And the mom's like, oh my gosh, like she is a little like foreteller. Like she can see when things are gonna happen, and she's very attuned to that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, is she trying to tell me something that I'm gonna be having a little girl? So I was like thinking about that, like, oh my gosh, I'm not just making this up. Like I feel like I'm in that mother energy, like where everything that I touch will grow. And I told my partner, he's like, oh my gosh, like but I'm in that mother energy, and I'm like, I don't know, like I said, it maybe it's not creating literal life, but I'm creating something. And trust me, it took me a lot to get into this energy of the Empress. um it took me a lot of reading to understand like how to be a woman first, how to be myself first before I can become something else, like a wife or a mother. It doesn't happen from one day to the other. It's a gradual like shift, and I think this shift is necessary for everyone. That now whenever we are having children, it's not because we that's our role, or we have to, or we want to leave our family. It's very much intentional. It's the importance of having children that is intentional. Now they're not accidents. Now they're not. People are having children with intention. And that as a collective is amazing. Like, we are healing. We're not bringing all that baggage into our children anymore. Like, we are conscious that it's not just bringing a child into this world. You have to be prepared yourself as a woman first, or a male. You have to be prepared as a male before you can become a father. What tendencies do you have? You need to have respect. You need to have loyalty, responsibility. All those attributes have to be in place in your being in order for you to decide to be like, you know what? I'm ready to I have enough myself to give, to pour into another little being. And that's the thing about like the Empress energy. She has flowers all over. She's a fertility queen. She's abundant. That's very abundant. But you know what? She gives because she has. Not because she has a few flowers and she's like, here. No, she has enough. So, us, we're healing, we're forgiving, we're letting go of all this trauma of, everything we've gone through. And we have enough love to give our children. Now we're not going to be begging for love like we begged our parents, for a little type of love. Now we can give fully our love to our children because we have enough of that. You can't give something that you don't have yourself, right? It's like when a homeless man asks you for $10 and you only have $2, where are you going to get the other $8? Like, bro, you can't give something that you don't have. That's the very much awareness that we have. Now I keep saying, like, me and my mom, we have a really, really rough patch. And man, I wish, like, I see other mothers and I'm like, I don't wish my mom was like that or she was her. It's just like, why did I have to go through this such a difficult experience of, inconsistency with my mother? Like, I wish it was just easy. But at the same time, I have so much compassion for her. Maybe more than the typical person would have. If you guys knew all the shit I went through, you guys probably wouldn't have as much compassion as I do. But the moral of this is they didn't get a handbook to how to become a woman. They didn't give them a 20 step how to raise a child. It's not an interview to take a position. They're not interviewed and be like, oh no, I don't want to be a mom. It's, you have to go out there and learn. But you act with from what you learned yourself. And I don't know, this episode, I'm like, I could take it like two different ways. Like, we could either, expose all the bad experiences that I went through, or we can just take the truth around what that influenced me to become, or the woman that I became because of those experiences. And I always talk about awareness. Oh, it's important to have awareness. Oh, it's awareness. It's consciousness. Consciousness is what making us shift to become better overall, like us. A lot of people are waking up. They're talking about these topics, and it's very, very necessary in order for things to change collectively. And yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys understand. And, if you went through a hard relationship with your mother, like myself, have some compassion for them. I mean, I feel like nobody's actions are excused. You know, you have to own up to your actions at one point. But it also doesn't mean that we can have compassion for others and put ourselves in their shoes and realize that they were once kids. They were once forced to just grow up. They didn't have social media like this. They didn't have a Liz to be telling you to have that awareness. They didn't have anyone or any manual, any pamphlet, or anything to guide them to make the correct decisions. And the good thing is now you guys do. And you guys get to have kids that are intentional. You guys get to have kids that are intentional. You get to raise them in a totally different way. And you get to be a great woman, but a better off mother, right? Some parents, like I said, the Empress is not in survival. She's calm. She's at peace. She's chilling. When a mother is in survival, the last thing she is worried about is giving their child some kisses. When she has 30,000 bills due in 1 week, the last thing she's going to care about is if her child took a shower, if her child is receiving attention, like very much survival. And many of our parents were unfortunately in that survival. How many of us are our parents were wealthy growing up? Not very much, right? At least like it's not to one certain group, it's to everyone, but most of us had to work our way up. They had to be in survival, paycheck to paycheck, and it's not an excuse, but it's hard to really give love. I told you guys I didn't record last week. I am so stressed with like bills and my different types of income, my jobs and stuff like that sometimes I'm so tired that I can't come here and sit and talk to you guys and pretend I'm happy and very bubbly and whatever, because I'm not. I can't give love or peace or motivation or encouragement when I myself don't feel like I'm in that energy. So you know what? I was like, I can't post this. I'm just going to take the week off. I don't have to explain anything. I just don't want to bring something out from a different state of emotions or energy, right? So I took a week off. I went to the beach to clear my mind. Now I'm back. I'm speaking from a space of love and peace and Empress energy. I love that. Now I'm here to encourage you guys to fill your cup, to motivate you guys to love and heal and have consciousness and awareness so that you can make your kids' lives much, much better than the life you got as a child. And I will do that too. I know one day my future kids, I always say I'm going to have 2 or 3 kids. So hopefully it's like a boy and a girl or 2 boys and a girl. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to manifest. Who knows what happens, right? If you guys are ever listening to this, maybe it could be 20, 30 years from now. I love you. It took me a lot to heal, but now I'm in my 30s. I'm like, I think I'm ready to be that mother. I had to go through a process to become a healed woman first in order to be ready to become a mother. And I think I'm ready for that, like that cycle, that journey in life. And I hope many of you guys are too. Take as much time. There's not a age where you have to have children. Back then you were 14, 15, 16, you're ripe, you're ready to have children. Now we're in our 30s and we're chilling. Why do we have to rush to have children? Just because society is telling us? The whole thing is like, it's not what time when you have kids. It's you're gonna know when you're healed enough to be like, I'm ready to have kids. I think I've healed from all this trauma. I'm not gonna bring heartbreak on them anymore, right? But anyways, guys, I am connecting with you guys a lot more on TikTok. I advise you guys to follow my TikTok. It's the same thing, Alpha Bella y Mystica. I think it has two ways at the end. Somebody stole my username. But go and follow me because we have more intimate conversations. We talk about like, you know, different dilemmas that are going on, and it's really really interesting to have a conversation with you guys. Let any comments down below. Follow me. I have more followers on other platforms, but I think on YouTube we can create a different platform, more intimate, more for those people that like listening to long episodes. There's a few of you guys that are like, how come your episode was 10 minutes? Like, bro, it takes me a good minute to edit. But thank you guys for coming back. I will see you guys next week. I have very, very good, juicy topics. If you guys want to be part of the podcast, let me know. Email me or message me. I am located in Turlock. We also have a business, the auto body collision shop. So if anybody needs like work done on their cars, we can take cash or through insurance. So if you guys need any work done, let me know or him, and we will collaborate to work together. Anyways, guys, bye.